Gary, you have always been in the Father's eyes, but you've faced a lot of struggles through this whole process. Share with me some of the things that you've gone through.
How long is this segment? You know, we talked a little bit about the preacher's kid repression. The way that I handled that, I was the perfect kid, tried to be, at least. My brother was the wild one, and I saw how that injured my parents, how it hurt them. And I decided not to do that. So I hid all my craziness as best I could. And then as soon as I left home, I didn't hide it anymore. Actually, Bible college, some of the craziest time in my life, honestly. It's mostly preacher's kids, and worse, missionary kids, you know. So I don't know who decided it was a good idea to take all these kids who've lived in the aforementioned varying degrees of repression, and the first time any of them leave home, let's put them in one spot. So we kind of all fed on each other, and it was wild. It was 30 miles from Dallas, crazy town. And I started doing some drugs, some recreational stuff, just smoking weed or whatever, and just didn't think anything about it. I didn't at all. Then I came to Nashville, and the weed turned to cocaine, which was the songwriter's drug of choice. Honestly, this is not to indict anybody. It's not a justification. It's simply the reality. In the early 80s in Nashville on Music Row, I didn't know many songwriters that weren't doing cocaine. It was the common thing. And again, not an excuse at all. And I went down that path for about 5 years. Again, I had perfected duplicity. I had two completely different lives. I had my church life, and I mean it. I really do. I'm writing Christian songs. I'm singing on stage. I believe what I'm doing, and at the same time, I've got this other path that I'm trying to keep one foot on. You think it's hard to live a life? Try two. It is maddening and exhausting, and I finally got to a place. And this is a story I don't tell in its entirety because there's other people involved. Mm-hmm. But my first marriage reached a point to where I knew that what I was doing was really harmful. And there was other stuff, but for my part, I decided to quit. And I did that day, September 2nd, 1986. This is wild, I have not seen cocaine since September 2nd, 1986. Living the life that I have clearly lived, I have been completely protected, and I thank God for it. That was difficult, but God was there. He just was there. He gave me the strength I needed, and I walked it out with His help. Then you fast forward another 7 years or so. I believe that was, I may get some of these numbers wrong. I'm old, you realize. But then my divorce, it was very difficult time. Again, we need a full segment to dissect that, and I try to be respectful. That whole thing has turned into the very best example of forgiveness and reconciliation that I'm aware of.
Isn't that amazing that
it's
God
amazing.
Can do that?
It is an amazing
He is a God
thing.
of restoration.
He is incredible, and I would not have thought it possible. And then about 5 years ago, took a long time, but God just literally out of the blue, I'm driving down the road, and I didn't audibly hear it. I'm dying to hear what He sounds like. I haven't heard that yet, but I will. But just as powerful, you've got to forgive.